All right, good morning, y'all. It is Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern Time. Time for the Bookmap stream with the Options Million Dollar server. Appreciate y'all taking the time. We've already been doing a little streaming this morning on our own server and just kind of tracking the stuff on down. Obviously, heavy selling in Nasdaq. ES, not so much. Nasdaq is about twice as heavy this morning as the S&P, and that's simply because of the rotation out of the mega caps into the smaller cap names. So as the rate cut environment comes into full effect, all the names that were beaten down, the consumer names in the RTY and the Dow, are now having a strong uplift, and which is causing the S&P to hold up quite nicely, although right now it looks like they want to retest lower. Overall, I am net short positioning on the market, looking for at least 990 on Nasdaq, hopefully, and ES down into the 5630 range with SPX tapping 5590 or 5950. I'm sorry. 59.90. I'm all over the place. 55.90. I'm all over the place. Something like that. And that's where we are right here. We had major liquidity at 56.30 on Bookmap. They took that off and shifted up to 56.40. So it's another 13 points down. That would be a decent little move here to top off a large amount of selling. Overall, looking at the options chain here, still positioned downside. We have put buying on Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, LLY, AMD, Tesla, SMCI, all the main names that everyone loves and holds near and dear to their heart. Heavy put buying. Microsoft is now leading the pack, the wolf pack. You have one in that pack, and then Microsoft makes two in the pack, and then you add Apple for the pack. And then SPX right now is pinning a gex at 55.95, 5,500, 5,600. I'm sorry, and then a little bit up to 56.30 as well. So that's where we are right here. Not a lot of movement so far on ES. It's kind of pinned flat. Nasdaq as well. We just had CL data kick off. They had an incredibly bullish morning, followed by a little bit of red here with the data. Other than that, though, they are holding very nicely into the 82.30 range. This is pretty much the same exact spot the ES has been in since 0700. A couple of hours here. It hasn't moved at all. All the fun was in pre-market. Nvidia is coming back up. Nasdaq is small bounce, and this probably, if this continues, will stop me out of my short position in profit. When I'm deeply in profit like this on such a large move, I give it a little bit larger stop breathing room. I don't play so tight when the move like this occurs. And then once I'm ready to get out of the trade, of course, I'll trim up and get close to where I need to be and let the trade execute. $164. All right. Market flow is still bearish at the moment. We have VPA staying here. We have a small bottom wick on the 30-minute with a green candle that just initiated 6 minutes ago. We almost got down to the first target on NASDAQ of about 0.7, 20.070, and that'll be the first time where I look for a major pivot if it gets down there. 150. All right. Still 151. NASDAQ still not climbing yet. In fact, it puts on a little ascending wedge type look here. So that double bounce right there that we were talking about where NASDAQ sells off, small bounce, and then retraces for another bottom wick is already failing. So that is now negated. And, yeah, looking for 103. Coming back off here. And we have 56.52, very slow action. VIX is still holding 1408, so they're not crushing the VIX, which is one thing I want to pay attention to for any kind of trend change. I don't see a lot of buying just yet. 30 minutes coming up in a little bit of green here, but yeah. What do you have for a projected pullback on SPX? Right now, 55.70, 55.80 will be first target. That'll be the first major zone where the market will start to play zone defense. If you look, we have a whole bunch of consolidation and exposure in a 55.70, 55.80 mark. The overall target could be lower than that, but first we got to get through that. If we clear that out, then we probably most likely 55.20 and change, somewhere in there. I mean, overall, before we find buyers and bounce. My whole thing, my thesis last week coming into this week was looking for, let me zoom out a little bit. My whole thesis going into last week into this week was that we were going to have some sort of retracement to recapture demand before our next move higher. And that was probably going to be most likely mid 5400s on SPX. That would probably regather a lot of demand. Now, seasonality for August is typically bearish. We have a whole lot of stuff coming up here in fall that we don't normally get on. You know, we've got the election, we have rate cuts and all that stuff. So for me, the mid 5400 is a great point to look to start buying. And the reason why it really depends on how quick they want to do this too, because it's mid-July. They're kicking off selling a touch earlier than normal. And if they rally this, if they flush this thing down in there too quickly, then we'll have plenty of time to bounce, recover, retest highs before the rate cuts start kicking in, before the elections start kicking off, and all this other crap. So it really depends on how fast they want to get down there. But that's what I'll look for. Right now, it's pretty boring price action. This has been the name of the game, man. This has been the name of the game since 2 weeks now. Shaking and baking and pre-market up into the market. Then we enter a very tight, boring range, and then it kicks off late morning, early afternoon. Right when I sign off, the market starts to shake and bake. We got to get through it again. I believe we see 6,000 on SPX this year, personally, assuming earnings doesn't disappear. I am inclined to agree with you. I'm inclined to agree with you. At least somewhere up in that area. Bet him. I already have a standing bet with him. Standing bet with him. I fully anticipate paying that bet, so. I also believe I'm going to win our bet. Yeah. Well, we say what? 5750 by the election, right? Sweet. I mean, at this point, it's only 144 points up. It's not that much. And it's got 3-4 months to do it. Man, is it really only 4 months away till November? Jeez Louise. That's insane. This year is flying by. It's almost ski time, baby. My favorite time of the year. NASDAQ is reaching my target here to get out 170 or so, which is the retest. It says stream is full. I can hear you talk, but I can't watch. Really? I ain't no good. 171. I wish I could co-stream on the Discord, but I can't. You have YouTube though. NASDAQ 230 just came on. Accurate. Right here. So now we've got 230, we've got 100, and the 230 is a larger node. And NASDAQ is coming up to the retest of 174. How much you want to bet they stop me out and then dump it? How much you want to bet? We bet that around 51.50 my boom report has changed the same percentage gains around the market, so I'd rather give you $100 and get the gains. There you go. Either way, it goes to a good cause. You get to help somebody out, or I get to help some people out. So, good stuff. Man, talk about a good exit. Trupp gave back their entire green day today. I like it. I'll tell you what, though, I think I am nearing the time to officially execute my hedge on my long-term port. I think we're nearing the point, though, that it needs to be done, regardless of what happens. There's too much unknowns going into the next 3 to 4 months. Makes me nauseous. Naked puts, long puts, yeah. So it'll just be a protection trade that I'll eventually turn into a collar trade of some sort, um, or some sort of variation. Is what I'll do. Will I post when I take it? Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I've added to the list of podcasts is a long-term series of how to start trading, or how to start investing, how to get into investing, allocations you need to do, and when you need to start doing it in terms of how aggressive you want to be with your port, depending on your age. Do you stop out on that wick? Nope. Didn't actually hit my stop finally. So I'm looking forward to doing it. It'll be a good one. Alrighty. We still have now the consolidation range between what 170 or so and 100, and we have repeated failures by the buyers here. And this one is beginning to engulf here, and it could lead to some interesting gains. ES just engulfed as well, came on down, and I still look for 0.90 on Nasdaq to kick off the trudge into the support. Once we get into 990 or 0.90 on Nasdaq, that's where it's going to start eating real bad into the next support layer. Nvidia dropping back is crazy. Yep. Microsoft is coming down, all still put buying across all the major mega caps right now. The market net flow right now is still bearish for the time being. It's one of those days where you want to set a stop in Mono Cerebus. Take your hands off. We're starting to get some historical moves, and we haven't yet seen a 3% day in a long time. Remember, we haven't seen a 3% negative day since what, 2022? When was it? March of 22, April 22, something like that. So the time's ticking, and if today is going to be the day, you don't want to cut yourself short. So in order to make a lot, you've got to be able to give back some on a stop. I mean, Nasdaq's already down 2.3%. It's not that much more to hit 3% day. Wonder if we're going to gap on NASDAQ to 613. That would be beautiful. I think it's much needed. It's much needed. $115 here coming on down. Down to D090. Nice and easy. $1,300 iceberg on ES. Look at that. First big iceberg we've seen today. 1330, 1373. Here comes NASDAQ, still trudging on down, looking for 09. 60, 56.50 here. It's the first one on the day. It is below, so it's insinuated to be a buy-side iceberg, which very well could be. So now, the fact that we have retested resistance, broke, and went back lower, now it's time to roll the stops even lower, because we talked about this 2 days ago. If we have this type of price action, I don't want to give it another opportunity to test. Because if it tests again, probability, keyword there, says that we're going to breach and go higher. So now it's time to roll stops even lower, now that we've tested, failed, and gone lower, just in case we do have an aggressive bounce. So as this comes off here, that's what I'm going to do. ES is coming off 56.50. If it fills that up, probably look for 56.47, and then watch what happens after it fills, just in case this is a pretty strong buy side. NASDAQ, I'm still going for 990. What's the name of your podcast? Making Millionaires on Spotify. $107 NASDAQ. Can we go lower today? Yeah, sure. There you go. Sorry I logged in late. You said you're short. I am short, Palo. I've got a swing put, and I've got a NASDAQ short currently. Tech is headed for the worst day since 2022. Coming on down. $3,000 iceberg just filled. 56.49. It's the only iceberg to that degree we've seen today. Liquidity down to 56.40. They're adding to it, and they just took it off right when it filled too. So now's when I want to roll stops down here. This is an important moment for the markets. ES immediately bounces 5 points after filling it. 3,000 iceberg is a huge deal. You're welcome, Palo. I put a stop right for the bounce, caught all of it for now. I had shorted SPY near the top. Beautiful. Skipping emu. Another failed attempt on the bounce, and then top wick. We have another iceberg on the tape here. NASDAQ is going for another retest. Nvidia is down almost 6%. Apple's down 3. Tesla's down 1.4. Microsoft down 2. Meta's down 3.8. So it's a major sell day on tech, obviously. RTY is giving it back. ES is still hanging on, but they're looking like they're going to retest at least 46. But still pretty slow price action overall. We just have to hang on. Today, like I said, today's a day of stop losses. Put on a stop loss and take your hands off. Difficult to scalp the action since it's open because it's been pretty wicky. But it's a day to set a stop and hands off. That's it. See if we can break through the low here. We do have about 45 minutes until a move is typically made. 45 to 50 minutes. Maybe I need to shift my morning stream. The second I do that, it'll go to the morning. That's how the market does it. $116 is your target. Let me take a look at the Nasdaq or the Nvidia daily. Nvidia is at major support. Right here. I would probably say 117.11 is going to be major support. Give it 117 to 117 and a half is going to be the zone for support for Nvidia. If they give that out, next target's going to be, I would probably say 109 and a half. Call it 110 is what I would look for. If it gives that out, 97. But I don't think it'll do that. That's a pretty major move. That's 20% haircut. And y'all know I don't really have much experience with haircuts. The big thing I'm looking for here now is with something y'all need to do. Is if you are someone who's going to sit here for the good part of the day and look for something, I would encourage you to look for signs of what to expect on a bounce. Don't just sit here and blindly just slack-jawed, drooling, looking for a move. Figure out what's going on here on the higher time frames, 30, 60, 120, 240. What are you going to look for when it does actually bounce, if it does bounce? Bottom wicks with volume at a predetermined support with some sort of look on bookmap with liquidity shifting, icebergs, all that kind of stuff. Define it, predefine that stuff so you can attack it. China's president has suffered a stroke during the third plenary session of the Chinese Communist Party. The brain stroke was massive and is now in critical condition. Interesting. Now the follow-up question to that is who is his successor and what is his policy on Taiwan? That I don't know. More icebergs hitting the tape. Strokes are very difficult to come back from, and when you do come back from them, it takes months, if not years, to recover from them. Are the icebergs buys or sells? In my opinion, I would interpret these are buys. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to bounce right here. It means we could come down a little bit more and then bounce. Just right down here, in this area, most likely there are going to be supportive icebergs. We have 56.40 and then 56.37 as a little bit of liquidity coming down, which is within striking distance. It's only 8 or 9 points, not that big a deal. So we could fill these, come down, hit, and then bounce. But somewhere in this area, I do believe they are supportive icebergs. He was the devil we knew. Absolutely. Next guy could be leagues worse. That's why I was asking who is his successor and what is his policy. We have the YouTube as well, skipping emu. And you got the YouTube link as well you could jump on. If the Discord doesn't work. There's so much going on right now. It's weird. It is very weird. Exactly right. There's so much crap going on that's high-level items that we have to pay attention to. So, although I'm not necessarily longing this right now, I am shifting my stops lower. Another 1100 iceberg just filled 5650 on ES. $56.50 there. There's that first bottom wick on ES. Another iceberg is on the tape here at 56.52. Let's go look it up. I'm not seeing any news of that stroke, but let's go look for it. I bet it's on some of the MSMs. Unconfirmed rumors as of 20 hours ago that he has suffered a stroke. I believe that would be pretty breaking news if that's if that's true. I can only find it on a Reddit page and a couple of backwoods news outlets. That'd probably be all over CNN and Fox News if that were the case. Or at least X, if anything. X is better than all them chumps. NASDAQ is going for lows of the day here. Overall support at 56.40. Out of China controls our media too, that's true. And they do control the #1 source of news in America right now. The old TikTok. Not for just dancing videos, my friend. Here comes a retest NASDAQ 20.097. Dropping back over still. Rolling down stops. $0.95. No obvious successor from what I could see, if that is true. I was trying to have an intelligent conversation with a group of friends, and I was shocked that several of them got their news from TikTok. Yep. Most people do nowadays, man. How many conversations nowadays by adults are started with, I saw this TikTok that, so on and so forth. Not on Bazinga either. So we have a little bit of a green forming on ES and NASDAQ here on the 5-minute. 15-minute is still nice and engulfing, but they are still holding support. Not a lot of movement, obviously. It's just a very slow day. Something big has happened. Interesting. I think that's a new low of the day there on NASDAQ officially, and yes, that's true. So 0.98. Another 8 points here will start hitting that next little level there and then start trudging into the 990s. We do have Euro open in 20 minutes too, or Euro close, I'm sorry. NASDAQ is still just dropping, man, dropping. Right now the market net flow is still showing bearish. Still massive shorting and put buying at the moment. No signs of pulling up yet. SPX GEC currently is 55.75 rolling down. QQQ has 490 on the Qs. Is the main level. We have Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia still put buying. We're just kind of waiting still. Rumors of poison too. He gave himself a permanent job after eliminating his competition. Hubris proceeds a great fall. Mortality has other plans. Yeah, that's what I just read. I just Googled. I spent a couple minutes there Googling who's his successor, and he said that it was just that there is no obvious successor because he eliminated the ability for the Senate to choose the successor, and he chooses his own, which is interesting. According to Google. If the news is true, do you think it'll tank the market? Honestly, I have no idea. I guess it depends on who his successor is. If he's soft on Taiwan, then I would probably say Nvidia and all the others will do just fine. If it's a maniac, then who knows? Who knows? It's weird being done trading so early in the session. It's a feeling of freedom, in my opinion, much to be done that early. To be able to chillax. SPX back to high. Do you think they recover all of it from here? Love the community and learned so much. Thanks much. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate the people. Like-minded individuals. What's the upside target if this reverses? On SPX, I would like to see 56.15 will be my first upside target in the event that it does bounce. I'd most likely say that this is a good bounce point. The fact that we just filled 4,100 in iceberg. Moving too quickly for move stops and manage on my phone. I think it's going to be a good bounce, but rules are rules. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We still haven't hit that 56.40 yet. NASDAQ still hasn't gotten to their support yet, but they're getting close. Over my daily goal. Beautiful math. Keep it shut down. If it's your daily goal, keep it shut down. Overtrading is terrible. It's absolutely destructive. Jack Black to be deported from Australia. Interesting. 2100, new low of the day. They're putting back on 5640 here. This is why I make rules. Yep. His crew said a stupid comment on stage. Yeah, I just read it. Terrible. 5640. Yeah, so, I mean, nothing's changed so far. Day of trailing stops, that's it. Using a cash account, so out of capital to trade. Yeah, remember those days in IBKR? Just unlimited trading. Unlimited source of power. They fixed the glitch. The two most important things you can fix as a trader is overpositioning and overtrading. You fix those two things, your trading will do a complete 180 just by those two things alone. The trend is your friend mentality seems to be pretty reliable. Yeah, it's a trailing stop type of day. That glitch was awesome. It was awesome. That was crazy. Instant settlement, unlimited trading. NASDAQ has been straight down. ES is slowly trudging down since they opened. Overall, though, they're only down like 9 points since they opened. Creeping back off. I was in a business meeting and missed the starting on 8:30 on. Would you mind recapping your entry and where any re-entries opportunity where have been? Yeah, so NASDAQ, once they started, I'd taken some pre-market positions, but I didn't hold those pre-market positions into the open. And the reason why is because the too much too fast rule is looking for a crazy explosion. Although I had some doubts about any kind of major upside, other than a small bounce because of the nature of the why this was doing this. But still, I respected it and I closed out positions. And then once we started to top wick, basically right after the 945 candle is when I took entry and holding that thing down. Once they had that green, because we had two attempts by the buyers to go green and then top wick, and then a second candle, green, immediate top wick. So that they were dumping any kind of upside at liquidity, which is where I elected to go in, enter short. And I've set some stops on there. Hasn't tripped, and I'm going to see how far it can go down. And we'll come back off here for this move lower. And that's what I'm looking for. I have attempted to look at some puts. I haven't taken a SPX put on it yet. I wanted to, but I didn't. I am holding a swing put on SPX, though, that's doing pretty well. So it's been a pretty good day. It's been a pretty good day. Unfortunately, the S&P has not moved as much as NASDAQ, so hasn't been nearly as much opportunity. But, yeah. I know some people made some puts on SPX. So 2180 on for me, no, negative. So for me, I have an entry of 206. ES is there, 5649. I'm debating what to do with my top step though. Long term. I'm thinking about getting out of the prop game for good. Might start playing pretty aggressive with it. First time here, by the way. Good stuff. Nice, Robert. Appreciate that. It's been a pretty boring downtrend during the session, so I'm just trying to fill in the time here with a little bit of back and forth between bookmap and options flow. And so far, it's still all pointing lower, although I will say they are starting to build 5620 on SPX. The put flow is still very strong on Microsoft and Apple. And yeah. And we just put a new low in. But we did just fill 4,400 ICE on ES. After 30 winning days, you can draw it all. Yeah, I know. I'm debating whether to keep it or just go ahead and be done with it. If you get rid of it, might as well blow it with the YOLO play after withdrawing whenever you can. Yeah. Can you or someone else please explain how to do the ES SPY conversion? Absolutely. So if you want to convert SPY to ES, you take the SPY price, you multiply it times 10, and then you add the ES value. So I think it's, what, 67 today or something like that? And that gets you the ES price equivalent. Now it's just a ballpark, but if you get rid of it, might as well, yeah. You're welcome. $56.52. Is it time to play a call or not? I'm very careful about that. There's a great indicator in TV that has that SPX values. Really? All right. Well, back and forth stuff here. We have about 11 minutes here until both the European close and the end of the stream, the bookmap stream. I will sign back over and leave on the stream for our Discord peeps after I jump off. SPY, SPX, ES price converter. Interesting. Is this what you would call bottom wicking X or simply congestion? This looked like to me just congestion. If I want to see a bounce after this kind of selling, I need to see the signs of bottom wicking with volume. So far, we just haven't had that yet. It's been very weak. Normally, with buying, we get a pretty decent support move. So on the 15-minute, 30-minute, I need to see a good hammer with volume influx or some stopping volume to stop the freight train, and I haven't seen that. Now, that's on NASDAQ. Let me go take a look at ES. ES, we haven't gotten that either. No supportive moves so far, what I'm seeing on ES. We've got 5640 liquidity down here, but that's it. In fact, this looks like a low volume test where volume continues to dissipate, which means we haven't yet hit demand. We had a slight volume influx there at 1054 on the 5-minute chart. That was the 3-minute chart, not the 5. At 11 o'clock, we got a small volume increase. Is there a tax advantage on SPX equivalent for the NASDAQ? I don't know. Is NDX 1256? I don't know the answer to that. I've traded NDX so infrequently. Yeah, NDX is 1256. Okay, there you go. All right, so just for your knowledge, 1256 contracts are DJX, NDX, NQX, which is the SPY equivalent to NQ, OEX, RUI, RUT, SPX, VIX, XEO, and XSP. If y'all are interested. Can you please type that? Yeah. I'm trying to copy it, but it won't let me copy it on the website. But here, I could screenshot it. There you go. There you go. And here you go, Arctic Wolf. I'll post this in the chat. Paste. I predict a market explosive move in about 8 minutes or 30 seconds after the stream ends. Yeah. Tell me about it. Here's another failure of a green move up. So still, the sellers are using all opportunities to top wick. I'm not seeing increasing volume, though. I'm seeing decreasing volume on the 5-minute. Apple's trickling. There we go. 56.48 and dropping back over. 115. I think 20.120 has to hold, or it goes. Well, this is going to be like a dozen tests here of 100 on Nasdaq, and this one's starting to get a little bit quick in volumes. So we don't have the freight train stopping volume yet. Right now, it's all selling here so far. Global Foundries Intel surge after Trump's Taiwan comments. What he said something like he wants Taiwan to fund the defense, to pay for the defense, something like that. Too dependent on Taiwan for manufacturing. I agree with that. I think anyone could agree with that. Posing the most severe trade curbs available if companies continue to give China access to a semiconductor technology. Interesting. Here comes 56.40. A little bit of red. 20.090 test. AM low is strong resistance. Strong defense. That's where we at right here. We're coming up to our morning low test at 11:30. Large top wick sell-off on Nasdaq coming back over. IWM has not rotated out yet. We have XLF is still quite strong. We have TLT is up. We have VIX still not selling off, so they're still not killing the VIX yet. In my opinion, what I would do is set audio alerts on VIX. That straddles the price currently, so you can kind of get notified of any move. They are building some liquid down here in 30. You see this stuff down here? Not much. It's still only rice and beans down here. Ooh, rice and beans sound good. Some red beans and rice. Heck yeah, man. But it's there. They're building down from 38 to 26. NASDAQ has now been range bound since 10:50. Technically, they've been range bound since 10 o'clock, but back and forth. Chips took a crazy beating since last week. Yeah. 100%. And before we finish, ooh, a little new low of the day, then bottom wick with a slight increase in volume. So that's kind of what you want to see there. Let's see if volume can withhold that. That 20-year Treasury is a textbook VPA buy zone with that green volume you got. Let's take a look. TLT. Yeah, buddy, isn't it? It's a beautiful bottom wick right there. That 1025 candle. Money. So we're kind of getting a similar candle here, almost, on ES. We finally have some volume and a nice bottom wick. Do I dare test out a call? A small conservative call. Do I get greedy? I'm definitely going to roll down my stops, that's for sure. Definitely going to set my stops on NASDAQ. Buy limit price. Buy to close, not buy to open on NASDAQ. Stop. Roll it. All right, y'all. That is unfortunately the end of the stream. That is the European close as well. It's been a somewhat boring last hour or so, but overall, nice directional day that we desperately needed on the charts. If you have any questions about anything or any kind of content that we've talked about today, let me know. If you have any additional questions I can't answer, you feel free to reach out. Social media, Twitter, YouTube, Discord channel, whichever. So appreciate y'all taking time to be here. I'll see you next Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern Time for another Bookmap stream. Until next time, I'm out. See you.